Typhoon Dolphin slammed into China's eastern coast on August 9, bringing powerful winds and torrential rain to Zhejiang Province and causing widespread disruption across communities near the landfall area. The storm made landfall near Yuhuan at around 5:30 p.m. local time, with maximum sustained winds near its center reaching approximately 151 kilometers per hour. Although Dolphin had previously reached super typhoon intensity over the western Pacific before weakening on its approach to China, it remained powerful enough to cause significant damage when it reached Zhejiang. The strongest evidence of the storm's impact has come from video footage recorded during the height of the storm. Powerful winds can be seen tearing sections of roofing away from buildings, with large pieces of material being ripped loose as the structures were battered by repeated gusts. In another dramatic scene, a truck was knocked onto its side as powerful winds swept through the area. The footage shows that the storm was producing winds strong enough to affect not only lightweight structures but also large vehicles exposed to the full force of the wind. The damage to roofs was particularly severe in some locations. Once the wind began lifting sections of roofing, the exposed areas became increasingly vulnerable as additional gusts pushed underneath the materials. Detached roofing panels and other debris were then carried by the wind, creating further risks around buildings and road. The combination of strong winds and heavy rain also left damaged structures exposed to water, increasing the possibility of additional damage inside affected buildings. The storm was not limited to isolated structural damage. Trees, roadside signs, fences, temporary structures and other outdoor installations were also exposed to the powerful wind. In areas that had already received heavy rainfall, saturated ground made some trees and slopes more vulnerable, while debris and fallen objects created additional obstacles for people trying to move through affected communities. Flooding was also already being reported in parts of the affected region as heavy rain from Dolphin moved across Zhejiang. Roads and low-lying areas were inundated in some locations, while intense rainfall placed additional pressure on drainage systems and local waterways. The combination of flooding and strong winds made travel increasingly difficult, with residents facing hazardous conditions even after the typhoon's center had moved away from the coastline. The coastal areas experienced some of the most severe conditions because they were exposed directly to the storm's circulation. Powerful winds combined with rough seas and heavy rain as Dolphin crossed the coast, prompting authorities to keep vessels away from dangerous waters and suspend ferry operations. Ports and other coastal facilities were also closed or restricted as emergency measures were put into effect. Authorities had carried out large-scale preparations before the storm arrived. More than 1 million people were evacuated or relocated across affected areas. Residents in vulnerable coastal and low-lying locations were moved to safer areas as officials attempted to reduce the risk of casualties. The scale of the evacuation reflected the multiple threats created by the storm. In Zhejiang, residents were dealing with powerful winds, heavy rain, flooding and dangerous coastal conditions at the same time. Even after the strongest winds began to weaken, flooding and unstable structures remained concerns for communities affected by the storm. Shanghai also felt the effects of Dolphin's outer circulation, with strong winds and heavy rain disrupting transportation in the city. However, the most direct impact of the storm remained concentrated around Zhejiang, where Dolphin made landfall. The storm's impact was therefore much more than a period of heavy rain. Zhejiang experienced the combined effects of destructive winds, structural damage, flooding and dangerous coastal conditions, while emergency authorities carried out one of the largest evacuation operations of the year. As cleanup and inspections continue, the full scale of the damage will become clearer. Authorities will need to assess buildings, roads, power infrastructure, ports and other facilities across the affected areas.